Hey everyone, welcome to the That's Allowed podcast. This is your hostess, Audrey McKeon, and I'm here today with Anna Levin. Please introduce yourself, Anna.
Hi, thank you for having me. I am Anna. This is interesting. I am a woman. I am
Let's
a
start with that.
foreigner. There's so much to me,
I
but
know.
yes, let's just start there.
Beautiful. So the question I usually start with, just to see kind of what this shakes loose, is what's the story you're not telling?
Yes, that's such a good question. Um, there's so many, but I think the
Yeah.
most crucial one in these days, especially since the quarantine, the story I'm not telling openly, and I'm so ready to tell, is the fact that I was born a feeler.
Yeah.
And for many, many years, I made myself wrong. And I am very ready to share my being a feeler with everybody and what came through that, from that embrace, right?
That I am
So, yeah.
feeling that so hard. Like you could see, oh my gosh, that
Yes.
resonates with me so much. So many of
Yes.
us who are, empaths and feelers have told ourselves over and over again, no, that's not marketable. That's not,
Hmm.
that's not a job. That's not
Yes.
valuable. Nobody needs that. And that's just so wrong. So wrong.
Yes. You know what I see a little bit, what I have been able to observe is that we, especially as women, we didn't have a lot of, people that looked like that kind of heart leadership.
Yes.
So when we saw that in ourselves, we didn't know how to lead with it, at least for myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So
It is, yeah, it was really hard to find role models for heart-centered female leaders. Absolutely.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Women
But
who
it's a beautiful, oh, sorry to interrupt.
that's
It's a beautiful space that we are in, as especially as women. I think we're so special and sacred, and this is the time to do it differently and come from our heart. And it's like, I almost feel like we need like a feeling revolution,
yes.
because we're not feeling.
Yes. Mhm. God, that's so true. I was just going to say that women, who were in power when I was growing up, at least, I think to make it to that place had to pretend to be men in a lot of ways
Yes.
and had to adopt even more so, kind of go even further into machismo in a sense
Yes.
in order
Yes.
to survive and to thrive in that culture. So yeah, I completely agree. I think it's time for that revolution. I think more and more women are waking up to their heart center and recognizing how valuable that is
Hmm.
and finding ways to give that gift to the world. So
Yes.
yes, I agree. This is a very exciting time. So
Yes.
where does that begin for you?
Well, the feeling, you mean?
Where does it begin that, the story of you
Oh,
realizing, whoa, wait a second, I'm a feeler, but I've been blocking that or not feeling like that was valuable. Where does that
yes.
story begin for you?
I realized I was a filler, like, as a kid. Early on, I
Yeah.
noticed how I was, and even the way I looked at nature, or the way I looked at people and relationships, and even going to church and saying, like, what God are you talking about? Like, the God I'm connecting to, he's all love. There's no judgment. I mean, what is it? There were so many things about the world that it didn't fit into my heart. My
Yeah.
heart was almost like bigger than what I was seeing.
Hmm.
And see, I dropped my amethyst. But but it really started with, seeing that I was so good at surviving, and I asked myself, I wonder what living is gonna would feel like. And in order to do that, I had to be able to feel and trust and you know get to know my heart. Now, with that question came a whole array of things that I had to work through. And
Hmm.
this is where I think a lot of us get discouraged, because when we start to feel, we actually have to look at things and pattern, experiences that perhaps were not pleasant, because the decisions that we make for ourselves from our heads, it's very different than when it comes from our heart. So I have a lot of compassion for people, and I feel like that's one of the best gifts that I can give people when I work with them, is really loving them wherever they're at, not wanting them to be any other place that they're at, and helping them actually um, process those feelings that were suppressed and get past it so that they can actually live more joyfully and more aligned, right? And more alive as well. So,
Yeah. So I love you said I dropped my amethyst. What does the amethyst do? Why is it with you
you
right now?
know, I have, yes, this is a beautiful, I don't know. I do a lot of my healings holding this amethyst and
Uh-huh.
believe in energy.
Hmm.
Um, it just has a lot of good mojo for me. So
Okay, cool.
I like to fidget with my amethyst, whenever
Yeah.
I'm talking.
That's great. No, I
Yes.
have a little obsidian that I sometimes hold
Mhm.
because it's for like emotional sort of fortification. If I'm having a difficult conversation, I'll often have that in my
Yes.
have that in my hand.
Yes. I think it's and as silly as it may sound, because many of us come from academia, right, or the
Mm,
world, these are the most natural things to do. They come
yeah.
from Mother Earth, like ashes to ashes. That's where we come from. So that's really at the forefront of my current passion and my message, to spread and to hold this space for people, for all of us to realize that we have an array of beautiful healing methods and things that we can connect to, that can really give us an amazing life, as opposed to just popping a pill only. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So the next question is, what was the kind of point? Sometimes it's a rock bottom, sometimes it's kind of a climax point. In the hero's journey, it would be sort of that, the culmination of your initiation, where there's the
Hmm.
kind of big boss battle. What was that moment for you where you realized something has to change?
Yes. Um, and I would hope that it was a little bit more like what it was, but this is how it went. We went to church with my family, my ex-husband and we had an altercation with my ex-husband. And I got really concerned for my physical safety, so nothing happened. I remained centered as much as I could and peaceful, right? And I went inside and I'm washing my hands in the sink in the kitchen. This is the non elegant part. And I kid you not, it's almost like my own voice was talking to me. So I guess, not say my higher self was talking to me.
Yeah.
And that's when I heard myself saying to myself, I'm so done surviving. I wonder what living would be like. I have no idea what living is like. And that simple, I mean, it was just so peaceful, even in the midst of such a turbulent time, right?
Yeah.
My kids were little, so I'm trying to protect them. I'm trying not to blow up or yell or anything like that, trying to contain, right, the chaotic moment. And yet my soul was like, so, when it's the right thing, you're like, yes, that's it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's what started, to my life drastically.
So when did the tide start to turn up after that? What
Mm,
started to happen that you were like, maybe there's a better way. Maybe I can get out of this?
yes. And I like that question too, because up is such a subjective,
Sure.
right? Because one of my biggest lessons in the 7 years, when this question arose in my head, um, the biggest lesson is perhaps the respect and the appreciation that I have now for physician, that I didn't have at the beginning. At the beginning, when you're like, oh yes, I had this aha moment, therefore my life is now as we did different, but it's not, it doesn't happen like that. There's a lot of water that has to go under the bridge. So going back to the question, yes, it was automatic, because just the fact that I was asking myself that question, that was huge going up,
Yeah.
huge. But I would say in less than a month, I actually met my husband,
Hmm.
um, Danny, and it was such a soul connection, such a soul recognition, inexplainable,
Yeah.
but undeniable. And so I and then I received the message, trust in the power of your heart. And I literally saw, I was praying, and I literally saw like a full road, and I see the head and the heart, and it's like God was telling me, you can follow one or the other, you can choose.
Hmm.
I'm like, well, duh, so I'm gonna pick the heart, I'm gonna pick this message. Little did I know what that would entail.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of really going up, and a lot of undoing of stories, expectations, what life should look like at a certain age. I mean, a lot of undoing that and really stepping into a higher love, a
Yeah.
higher purpose. um, so grateful, so grateful. I would do it over and over again. And I know in the midst of it, sometimes, I would feel that I wasn't that graceful going through it. But I think all of us, I mean, I'm going to give myself some self love because I truly trust to be graceful through such a huge transition. But on the other end, I would do it all over again, because what I have gained is a bigger love, a bigger understanding of what love truly is, and how love never dies. Love it's an energy creation, and it just continues to transform and create new creations. And so till this day, I can say that I have a great loving relationship with my ex-husband. I you know Let me tell you a story about love and how it transformed going up to the question that you were asking me. When we got divorced, my husband was dating this girl, and she had a lot of medical issues. And one day, I like to pray. I mean, obviously, I like to pray and meditate a lot. And I was like in meditation, and I hear, pray for this lady.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Like, what? And so again, with like the talking to myself, right? Why would I pray for this lady when society, you're like, this is the one that you're supposed to be jealous about or whatever? And the voice says to me, because she is you and you're in her.
Mm.
And I started crying, and it was such a beautiful example of being one, because it didn't look like, a person that I will be willing to see myself as.
Yeah.
Really, really beautiful blessing, beautiful blessing. So that's just an example of how my love has been able to grow based on the initial moment of saying, I wonder what living will be like, and then accepting the message that was being given to me, trust in the power of your heart, trust without even knowing that your heart is powerful enough to love beyond the stories the world crafts.
Yes. I think so many people look at love as a zero-sum game, that the more, you give, the less you have, and that is exactly the opposite of the
Mhm.
truth. The more
Yeah.
love you give, the more love you have to give and receive, and all of that. Love is self-perpetuating. And
Yes.
yeah, so what a beautiful story. I love that so much.
Thank you.
What what do you think has blocked you from sharing this story before now?
Well, like we talked about before, the preconceptions, right? Of, well, who's gonna buy love? I mean, my message is
Yeah.
trust in the power of your heart, like da 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 da, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it's not like that has nothing to do with my degrees or that. Yet, yeah, I would say it was me. It was my own getting in my own head. To be completely honest, and this is the part that I actually have to forgive myself also and love myself enough. It was me not valuing this message that was to me.
Yeah.
And, the minute that I started to realize that, and it took me a few years, because I've been the runaway bride for many years now. Um, I first felt the sadness, but then I took that reaction and said, I need to share this. I need to. It doesn't matter what I look like, what I sound like, if I have an accent, if I don't have an accent, if I have hair, no hair. It doesn't matter. I need to share this because this is way too precious for me to hold it in my heart,
Yeah.
and so yeah, it is time. I'm ready.
And how did this change you?
It continues to change me, I think, and this is going to be for the rest of my life, the work that I do. It really continues to take me to a place of bigger and bigger and bigger understanding of what love is, of our connectivity, right? Interconnectivity, um, what this experience on planet Earth is about, and it's humbling, it's honoring, and it's humbling, and I'm very grateful. It really has changed me completely, person. I don't see things the same way. I appreciate things that perhaps I overlooked before. Even though I'm very observant as a person, I've always loved nature and animals and children. Those are all my weaknesses. But now it's a deeper. It just deepens my view of the world.
It's
And what I
interesting that you
feel.
call those weaknesses. I would call those strengths.
Well, just like my energy just goes out to them, and yeah,
Yeah.
and I know that's to look at. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Someone said to me once, a strength is not something that you're good at. A strength is something that gives you energy. And I've always really
Ah,
loved that.
yes, yes. And it's interesting. Sometimes people ask me when I'm doing, when I have a lot of, I do a lot of healings per day, and ask me if I get tired. I never get tired, ever. That's how I know it's mine to do.
Yes. Yeah.
Like if I were drained, then I would question. I'm like, this is not good for me. But I think I truly believe that when you're doing the work of your heart, whatever that is, it could be like you're a carpenter, you're energized by it. You're not drained by it.
Yeah. When you're in that flow and it just feels like no time at all is passing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. I mean, eventually I will get like a sore throat if I, do this all day, but like that.
Yes.
But other than that, I'm just like, oh, who's next? Let's do this.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So who do you think needs to hear your story?
I think anybody that has closed up their hearts for whatever reason, and that is ready to open their hearts. That's the key also. I always tell people when they come and work with me, I said, look, the only thing you need to do is relax and receive. And it sounds pretty simple, but many of us really stink at receiving, or relaxing
Yes.
for that matter.
Yes.
We don't know how to do that. It's the pre-programming. I have to be efficient. I have to be productive,
Mhm.
and so that I think anybody that is ready, and I think many of us now, especially with the space that the quarantine has given us,
Mhm.
are realizing that we need to start feeling that we are human beings, right?
Yeah.
So it's great to create. We can definitely use our minds. They're amazing, computers, but our hearts have a wisdom that, when we touch into it, it kind of like shifts everything in your life. So yeah, anybody that is closed up that would like to open up.
Yeah. I think feeling really is healing. I know that sounds cheesy, but
Yeah,
there's a very deep truth there. And the
yeah.
more time we spend just
Hmm.
focusing on our heart center and on feeling and on experiencing things
Hmm.
in the moment, uh, the more joy we find.
Yes. And
Yeah.
I don't know if it happens to you, but for me, the older I get, the more, which I believe is part of getting older, the more I realize, well, shoot, if I'm gonna be here, I might as well feel it. I mean, like, what am I doing here if I'm not going to be here?
Yes.
I mean, it's like saying, I want to swim. You're in the swimming pool now. Are you going to move, or are you going to just stand in the swimming pool? You know?
Right. Right. You're in the pool, swim.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that so much. So, what would you say is the main message or takeaway from your story?
It really is to trust in the power of my heart. Trust has come to be for me moving forward without knowing where I'm going. It has also meant to develop a more intimate relationship with my soul.
Hmm.
It has also meant to redefine who I think I should be, um, or the titles that I have or the roles that I play. Um, it has been um, it has been a true blessing. So yeah, I think that's the takeaway.
Let's go
That's
into
going to be on
that.
my grave.
Yeah.
Trust in the power of your heart.
Yeah. Let's go into that a little bit more deeply. You said who I should be, I think, or
Mhm.
who do
Yeah,
you think that is? Who do you think that
well,
is?
and I had this conversation with my husband many times because he likes to push my buttons, thank God, because
Oh
that
yeah.
helps me grow. Um, but I was a teacher for many years, for example, and he would always tell me, do you realize that you always talk about yourself in the past?
Mm,
You always refer to, and I thought, and I would get my feelings hurt because I thought it was because I loved the stories, and I still do love the stories that I have with the students that came into my life over the years. But there was another side to that coin, that was me holding on to a title or a role that I was playing, which doesn't take away from doing it. What he was referring more was the fact that I was relating to just that, when there is more to myself. Like, I am just a high school teacher, right?
right.
So then when I could allow myself to look into that further and say, okay, if I'm not that, then what am I? Then that's also part of the message, to trust, and trust in the power, and trust in your own intuition and connection to your soul. So yeah, and it's brutal, right? It's brutal
Yeah.
because my identity was so attached to that, and the other one is being a mom. And
Hmm.
for the longest time I couldn't understand, and I'm still battling a little bit with this, which again is normal, right? Because we're women and we're moms, but it's understanding, how can I still be myself and then play these other roles as well? There's no one or the other, but it can be in harmony with each other. But it was very fruitful for me to get rid of a lot of those who I should be.
Hmm. Yeah.
And yeah.
It's really powerful when we really accept that we don't actually have to do something to be.
Hmm.
I think so much of this culture is really focused on what do you do?
Yes. Yes.
And for a while, I had this written on my mirror. I had a little whiteboard marker, and I wrote on my mirror, uh, you are enough, you have enough, you do enough.
Hmm.
And that was just so big for me because I constantly felt like, every morning I woke up behind. And it's like, I haven't done enough. I have so much to do. I have
Hmm.
to, uh, be all these things for all these people. And it was like, no, you've already done enough just by being.
Yes, yes. And I think, thank you for that point, because I think that is at the core of trusting in the power of heart. Um, and I have gotten this message from, in prayer for the past 7 years. And I finally, in the past 3, is when I'm stepping into, like, okay, now I'm getting what being is, because they kept on saying to me, just be. just be. You don't have to do. Don't be so worried about like what you have to create and this and that, because that's what I was always asking guidance for. Well, what is mine to create? Do I make a course? And do I make
Uh-huh.
do I offer whatever, Mother's Day special? I mean, alignments. um like,
Yeah.
just relax, girl, relax, and just be with your message, embody your message.
Mm.
And it's a different magnetism when we
Yes.
are, yeah, when we are able to do that, whatever we're doing, because in my case is energy alignments, but in your case is bringing the voice of other people. It was whatever it is that is in your heart to share with the world and with yourself. It's fascinating to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what are you focused on right now?
Right now, I am focused on being my message
Hmm.
and sharing that place, sharing with others. I do a few things, I do translations sometimes for fun. It has come into my life again, translation. So I translated a couple of books, and I might be doing audiobooks too. But my
Cool.
passion, yeah, I know, it's so fun. But my passion is really this connection that I have with source, and I can channel source and help a person get their energy mind and activate their heart so they can actually oh life. And I think that's really at the forefront of everything and anything that I do. Whether I'm talking to somebody or I'm in my own company, I try my best to um, stay centered and in a heart space, and
Absolutely.
really really focusing on how am I using my energy and how am I sharing my energy with others. So yeah, it's about spreading my message right now. I'm very very ready. So
And let's one more time, let's hear that message.
trust in the power of your heart.
Beautiful. So now we're going to transition. And this is my favorite part of the podcast.
Yes.
I'm going to have you close your eyes for a moment. Just take a nice centering breath. Beautiful. I'm going to wave my magic wand. And you have now been granted all your wishes. Everything that you deeply desire has just come true. Now I want you to look around your life and explain to me what you see, what you smell, what you hear, what you feel in this perfect, ideal existence that you are now in.
Okay. I see myself having fun
Hmm.
on a stage, because really, my dream would be to align massive amount of people at the same time, but having fun doing it while doing it.
Yeah. So I want you to
Yeah.
look out in that audience. You see these people, they're having fun. You can see they're really resonating with this. You can like see their hearts opening up through their eyes. I want you to really see that and just feel what that feels like for a moment.
Oh man, that's to me that's the definition of joy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
So then you are done with this experience. You're going to head back home. Describe to me where you're going.
I am going to a peaceful home. Yeah, it's a house. And do you want me to describe the interior of that?
Absolutely. Everything that comes
Okay.
to you, just tell me.
Okay. Okay. White walls. It's kind of modern looking, minimalist type thing. Very
Mhm.
much my vibe. um, my husband is there. I feel the kids are taken care of, like they are adults and they're good.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, just peaceful, which is what I like.
Yeah. So you're in this beautiful, peaceful space. What do you hear? What are the sounds?
Um, I well, the first thing is I hear birds, but I also hear the trees out with the wind. And
Yeah, yeah,
what
yeah.
do
The
you
wind through
call
the
that in
trees.
English? The ruffle,
The
the
rustle of
rustle, the
yeah,
rustle.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I hear. Other than
Beautiful.
that, it's quiet. I like
Okay.
it.
Do you smell anything?
Hmm. It smells clean.
Mm.
Smells clean. Not a lot of, strong smells.
Mhm.
Yeah, just
Nice,
clean.
clean, calm space where you can
Hmm.
just be.
Hmm.
Beautiful. So you're bringing meaning to all these people. You're opening up all these hearts. Is there anything else that you do in this space that really brings you joy?
I travel.
Mm,
Yes, I just saw Greece for some reason.
beautiful. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to shift gears a little bit. You're in Greece.
Hmm.
You're on a beach. Describe it for me.
Yes, on those like white houses
Oh
that
yeah,
you always see.
absolutely.
So cute. Yeah. Yeah, I'm just walking through the little village,
Hmm.
enjoying the views.
Are you connecting with people there?
Yeah, I'm there also just to do some work with groups of people.
Hmm. That's what I'm feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, both.
You're not just
So it's like a
traveling. Yeah, it's
work
not
pleasure,
like
work pleasure.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. You're actually traveling around the world and helping people in different places to get in touch with their feelings and open up their hearts.
Hmm.
Yeah. So let's look back in your memory. What had to happen for this to be possible? What was the step just before this one that had to occur for you to be able to have this life that you have?
To be honest with you, the first thing that came to mind was saying yes to my message because until
Hmm.
now I was hiding.
Yeah. And really fully embodying that, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
It's a lot
Being
easier
it, right. Yeah,
to give advice than to take our own advice.
absolutely. Absolutely. And I have zero desire to do that. Like I love people. So I'm a teacher at heart. So I love
Yeah.
empowering people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I want you to just feel what that feels like to be fully empowered yourself and have that just overflow out of you onto these people around you.
That's so cool. I mean, it's not like there's nothing to do.
Yeah. It just is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just flowing through you. Beautiful. Okay. You can
Oh
open
my
your eyes.
goodness. That is so cool. Let's go there.
Right? Let's go right now.
Do you want to come to Greece with me?
Absolutely. I want to go to Greece with you.
That's
Yes.
amazing. That's like,
Yeah.
I am amazed at the clarity, and I do a lot. I mean, in the work that I do, obviously, I channel information and I'm very visual, but I'm always amazed at how quickly we can just close our eyes and connect, right? It's
Hmm.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I find so interesting about this exercise is that often, some people they have this idea of like, oh, I know exactly what I want and I'm there, right? Other people are like, just have no idea what they're going to see. And yet they still see it.
Mm-hmm.
It still works for
Yes.
them. They haven't like
Yes.
had to think about it ahead of time. And sometimes people who think they know what they're going to see something completely different.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
it's just when we open ourselves up to that possibility,
Mm-hmm.
it just comes.
Yes. And
And
it's
you can just
okay.
be there.
Exactly. And it's okay not to know, what it would look like or even what you want. That's a beautiful, space to sit. Look, I for the longest time that was kind of like my like bothersome, it's like, oh, I don't know, I don't even know what I want. Oh my gosh, who know what they want. But look at where your exercise took me, right? Like, so the one thing that I was given, right? As soon as I say yes to it, that's what's going to overflow my cup.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. There's nothing else. There's not a course I have to take. There's not like more money that I have to have. Like there's nothing else. It's just saying yes to that one thing that was given to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so it's so interesting. So interesting. Like the resistance is unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. And just the fact that we think we need permission to feel joy. that we think, oh,
Yes.
well, okay, I can feel joyful once I've achieved this or once I have that. No,
Mm-hmm.
babe,
Yeah.
your birthright is to
Yeah.
feel. And you
Yes.
can feel exactly what you want to feel right now. And in
Yes.
fact, you can feel it over and over and over again. And this is what,
Yes.
the exercise that I always kind of prescribe for people is to take that vision that you have. Now, some people like vision boards. They like to create a board. Some people like to create a little slideshow. Some people just like to keep the mental image and listen to a piece of music, or,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just take time every day. I do just 15 seconds every morning. I wake up and I have my little slideshow that I watch is 15 seconds long. Very simple.
I love it.
And I just listen to this music and watch this slideshow, and I put myself into that space and let myself feel those feelings. And not
Yes.
only does it set the tone for the rest of my day, but it reminds me that no one can stop me from feeling
Mm-hmm.
those feelings right here, right now.
Yes, exactly. And what you're doing right then and there is actually, um, being responsible for what you're manifesting and your co-creation, right, in this world. I would say to people that are like, 5 steps behind that, because what happens when we're closed up in our hearts, that could be kind of like unattainable. It's like, well, I don't even know how to feel,
Yes.
even less, visualize my dream or whatever. So just be kind to yourself, be gentle with, and just start slow. There's a lot of programming and a lot of emotional blocks that we acquire in go this beautiful life of ours, and require time and space to heal sometimes. There's some big things, some others like gone in right away, or decrease. Like I'll give you an example. I work with a lady that had like severe anxiety, severe, and she was able from an 8 or 9 to a 3. So she still would feel anxiety, but then through the alignment that we did, then she can get rid of most of it. And
Yeah.
then with time, if she continues to align her energy, then that can be completely gone. So anything is possible, right, with energy, but it takes courage and love and compassion with self to, you know, get it.
That is so true too, that often people don't even know how to feel what they already feel, let alone feel something else. And
Yeah.
sometimes that's the thing. It's like they're trying not to feel what they feel. They're spending all this
Mm-hmm.
time and energy on not feeling whatever it is that they're feeling. And
Yes.
so they can never get out of that. It's an endless
Yes.
loop that keeps sucking them back in because
Mm-hmm.
they never actually sit with that feeling.
Yeah.
As I say, get comfortable with discomfort.
Yes. I think it's one of the biggest mistakes that we make as human beings is trying to think outsmart our feelings.
Mm.
I mean, they're not going to go anywhere, people. Let's get on with the program. They're going to be here. You can suppress them, but they're going to still be there. And that's going to only hurt us physically, emotionally, spiritually, right? Then we get cancer, we get like whatever, heartburn, I don't know. So the
That
best
is
thing we
so
can
true.
do is sit with it. Like if you're angry, okay, sit down with yourself in a journal. You're angry. It's all okay. I mean, you're not a bad person because you're feeling angry.
Anger can
So,
be a very useful emotion. Anger
mm-hmm.
can point out to you something that needs to change. Anger can point
Yes.
out to you a desire that's gone unfulfilled, a need
Mm-hmm.
that's gone unfulfilled. Sadness, grief, all of these things are very useful
Mm-hmm.
emotions,
Yes.
but only when we pay attention to them and ask
Yes.
them, what is the gift that you're trying to give me?
Mm-hmm.
What are you trying to help me with?
Yes.
Instead of fighting it, because what you resist persists.
Oh God, I can say that again. I'm a little bit of a fighter. I'm feisty. I'm a Leo. You can only imagine my dialogues with myself in my
Oh,
head.
yeah.
Very amusing. Very amusing.
Yeah. I have a lot of Leos in my life too. My daughter's a Leo. My mom's a Leo. Yeah, that Leo energy. It's fun.
I'm
I'm a I'm
sorry.
I'm a fire sign too. I'm a Sagittarius, so we get along
Yes.
really well.
Yes, the
Um,
creative.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I think that that fire can also feel overwhelming
Mm-hmm.
and we can feel like, well, where am I supposed to put this, energy? And I
Yes.
think, as you've discovered, when you use that energy to help other people kind of unblock their energy, that's when you start to go, oh, okay, that's
Yes,
why I have.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Which also speaks of the, beautiful, harmonious balance and divine plan that we all have. And when we start to kind of like lean into it instead of
Mm.
fighting it, everything starts to kind of like fall into place. You meet the right people, you have the right conversations, the right amount of money comes in, things just start to work better.
Yeah. I call that synchronicity. Like,
Yes.
once you open yourself up to it, it's like these things just start to show up in your life. And I think it
Hmm.
was Douglas Adams. He's a cartoonist. He's the one who wrote Dilbert. And
Hmm.
he tells this story about, he went to some class or read a book, I don't know which, that suggested, write down on a piece of paper, I think it was like 40 times a day, what you want to create. And
Hmm.
so he wrote down, I am a famous cartoonist. And he
I
wrote
love it.
this, yeah, just over and over and over again. And lo and behold, he became a famous cartoonist.
Yeah.
And he said, I can explain that away by saying, oh, then my mind was more, focused on that. And so I saw more opportunities and went through those doors. But the bottom line is it works. So who cares
Yes.
why it works? It
Exactly.
works.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's how we get in our own way. You see, we go to our head.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that's why trusting in the power of your heart means not knowing precisely, perhaps, yes, but maybe not, where you're going. Just what's your
Yeah.
desire? What's your heart desire?
Yeah. Learning to let go of the outcome. Just hold
Hmm.
that outcome really lightly and say, here are my core desired feelings. Here's where, here's my ideal scene.
Yeah.
Universe, take me there.
Yes,
trusting that
exactly.
trusting that journey.
Yes. And sometimes it looks different than what we envision,
Yeah.
but also trusting that it has a higher purpose. There's a
Hmm.
reason why it might look differently, and just accept it, receive it.
And I think, yeah, that's the point. It's like it might look differently, but you can feel that it's the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Feel that you go, oh, there's that feeling. And that's why it's
Yes.
so important to connect the feeling
Yes.
with it. It's like, don't just visualize, oh, here's this beautiful space. Feel what it feels like to be in that space.
Yeah.
That's where the
And
magic happens.
in order to do that, we really have to be quiet. Like the
Yeah.
first thing that we need to do is allow ourselves to be quiet. People often say, the people that are really closed up, they'll say to me, I don't even know to feel. I don't even know what I'm feeling.
Yep.
So baby steps. First of all, breathe. Second of all, close your eyes. Third of all, be quiet. Even if it has to be like an hour of nothingness, be quiet. Eventually, you're going to start hearing, you're going to start listening to your heart, you're going to start to feel, you're going to start to, something is going to happen. I can promise you that. And not because I say it, because there's like so many people in history that have done this, right? So, but it starts with actually giving ourselves the space and the opportunity to feel something. We can't think about what we feel.
Yeah.
That's what I see a lot. We're thinking about what we're feeling.
Yes. When I was a teenager, I went through this real kind of crisis, crisis of self. And I would go out on these long hikes. I was living in Colorado, and so I could hike, up these mountains. Like,
Hmm.
I'm talking 14,000 feet. You know,
Wow.
I would hike up these mountains, and it would take me all day. And I would force myself not to bring any music, to just have the quiet be
Hmm.
there. And at first it was so hard for me, Anna. Oh
Hmm.
my gosh. It was so painful. I was
Yes.
like, this is miserable. I'm bored. I hate this.
Yeah.
I hate everything about this. But then after a while, I got used to it. And then I started to just have this immense calm that would come over me. And it was
Hmm.
like, wait, I don't have to be thinking about anything. I don't
Yeah.
have to be productive right now. I can just be.
Hmm.
And that was this incredible transformative thing for me. I realized that, I'd been trying to meditate, but all the things I was trying to do, I was still trying to do something, you know?
Yes. Yes.
And so
Beautiful.
that turned out to be the best kind of meditation for me, was just, kind of forest bathing or hiking and just being out in nature and just
Mhm.
letting it flow through me.
Yes, yes. What a beautiful. I wish we were in Colorado now, and
Oh,
we can do the podcast just walking and
absolutely. Yeah. Oh, so
it's
gorgeous.
beautiful.
Just such a
Yeah.
beautiful area. But
That
I'm
is
really blessed now too. I live in Washington State, and I live
oh,
on a mountain again. And so in basically my backyard, there's hiking trails. And I've just
nice.
realized that how important that is to me, to
Yes.
have beautiful nature really close by.
Mhm. Yes, I know. Funny story. A long time ago, when we were purchasing a home, I remember my ex-husband said to me, "So, what would you like?" Because he was going to another state to see the houses. What would you like? I'm like, I would like to see a tree outside the master bedroom. That's just me.
Yeah.
Like
Trees are
not,
important.
like a granite countertops or whatever it was at that
Right.
time that was in. Oh my
What
gosh.
a treat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I had
I
a
wish I
tree.
could show you right now. So right outside this window, there is a giant cedar tree that is just
Oh,
absolutely beautiful. Yeah.
I love trees. Trees
Yeah,
are
me
my
too.
jam.
Yeah. Trees are great.
Yes.
So thank you so much for all of this. Where can the beautiful people at home find you?
Well, the easiest place would be my website, annalauralevin.com. And I'm in social media, Instagram. I am slowly but surely building my YouTube channel, doing more energy alignment so that people can actually have a taste of what I do. And again, it's something that they will feel. And most people come to me and they say, I feel like I have to work with you. I'm like, okay, great. That's
Yep.
the intention. That's the right thing to
Exactly.
say. So, yes. So, but thank you so much for a lovely conversation. I mean, I think it's beautiful that people like yourself that are holding the space for all of us to be heard and come together, and share our stories.
Absolutely. Is there anything else you'd like the audience to know before we wrap up?
Even if you're scared, still move forward.
Beautiful. Just open your heart to feeling.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
got you. There's a lot of us.
Yeah.
We got you.
That's right. That's right. And we do.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.